Let's talk tools and spares. Hi guys, Old Bum here, and today I just want to talk to you about some tools and spares I like to take with me when I go bike touring. And of course this kit varies depending on the length of the trip. Of course you're not going to take as much if you're just going for a weekend as you would for say a fortnight or a month, but there's always some essentials that I do like to take. So let's get going, guys. First up, let's talk spares, and of course tubes. How can you go without tubes? You need them, you have to take them. Even riding around town, I always have a spare tube in my saddlebag. I like to take about 3 with me, and that way I'm pretty well covered. I made the mistake of when I did my Brisbane trip, I checked my tyres in the morning before I left, bike went over, snapped the valve stem off, and of course the only spare tube I had to use. I got lost in the Cadalva State Forest. Luckily it's only about 50 k's out of town where I was, and of course got pinched flat to buggery. The tube sort of resembled more of a T-strainer than it did a bike tube. But anyway, learnt a lesson, take plenty with me, and that's it. I don't go anywhere without them. So, tubes guys, always remember them. Second little bit of spares I like to take with me is a patch repair kit. Always take it with me. Usually it's a lot quicker to change a tube on the side of the road rather than it is to patch it, and of course compound glue does take a little longer to set. So usually at night when I camp up, any tubes that need repairing, I just repair them with the patch. Another thing I like to take with me, of course, is a spare tyre. That's a foldable spare tyre, doesn't take up a lot of room, and considering the places I go and the places I like to travel, I like to go into more remote areas, I would not go without a spare tyre, even for a weekend, because usually I'm off in the bush somewhere, dirt roads, and it's a hell of a long walk. Another little spare that I love to take with me is these things. They're called missing links. Pretty much a chain link, and if you break a chain, you can always fix the chain there and then on the spot without having to push your bike for miles. Having said that, on a longer trip, I don't normally take these on, that's an old chain there, but usually when I'm doing a long trip, I'll always take a spare chain with me, just in case. So, like I said, weekend away I wouldn't bother, I'd just take the missing links and I'm all happy with that. But on a long trip I like to take just a spare chain. It's a little bit of weight, but honestly at the end of the day, it's just that little bit of assurance to know that you're not going to be stuck in the middle of the bush somewhere. Here we go. Another spare is, I don't know if you can see that there, is the spoke. I take about 3 of those with me, 3 spokes. I've never had to use one. On my first trip on my old Merida, the chain jumped off a couple of times off between the cassette and the wheel, and of course it did break a spoke. Now, again, well, you probably wouldn't need to take one of them on a weekend away, because really at the end of the day, if you break a spoke, it's not going to put a great deal of strain on the wheel just over a weekend. But if you're going on a long trip, the last thing you want to do, is because if you break one spoke, it starts to weaken the rest, and of course the rest start to go as well. So mainly on a longer trip, but I always like to take a couple of spokes with me. Now, other things I like to take with me is a myriad of M5 and X6 bolts. They're usually the ones that fit into your bike, and they're good for spares. If you're going over especially a lot of rough roads, chances are you're going to have your rack mounts come loose, you're going to have water bottle cages come loose, and of course if they come loose they can work out and you can lose them. So M5 and M6 bolts. Of course we have, oops, reach up here, the trusty cable tie. Now we've come a long way in Australia over the years. We used to use fencing wire. Now we have the added pleasure of nice, easy plastic cable ties, and they're quite strong. They're great for, you know, doing up cables, fixing things. If you run out of bolts, they're always come in handy to fix up your rack, down at your rack, until you can get to a town and get another bolt. Now, again, that's not a full roll, but I like to take some insulation tape and I like to take gaffer tape. There are two other things that I like to take. So the insulation tape and the gaffer tape are a thing that I like to take with me. Again, handlebar tape comes undone, you've got it, and so forth. What else have we got here? Well, these are more sort of, rather than spares, these are more maintenance along the way. And of course, I usually like to take a tube of Teflon grease with me. That's a good, handy hardware and grease. That's good for nearly all parts of your bike. Great to have, handy to have with you. Of course, there's the trusty WD-40. I usually take a little tin like that. That's handy to help just lube stuff up, you know, and so forth. And I love this stuff. It's called Ride Mechanic Bike Milk. It's a dry lubricant, and it's fantastic. It also cleans your chain as well as lubricate it. So I always take a small bottle of that with me when I go. Now let's get on to some tools. That's pretty much what all the spares, and of course, you know, if you're going on a shorter trip, a lot of this sort of stuff mightn't be necessary, but on a longer trip, this is what I certainly like to take. Oh, and one other thing before I go. No, I haven't usually done this before, but I am planning a really long trip. It won't be for a while, and I'll get into that more later, but I want to plan a really long trip, and so I will probably take a spare cassette with me, just in case. No, it's not something that I would take on, you know, a week or 2 weeks or even a month, but this trip I'm looking at in the future, it certainly will be a necessary item to take with me. Now, let's get on to the tools. And of course, I'll start with the simple stuff first. And we all like to lock our bike up and keep it secure. I have a little bike lock here. It's a little combination lock, and it is only cable. It's a high density steel cable, and honestly guys, if thieves are going to cut through something, they're going to cut through it. And that's just a nice handy light bike lock that I like to take with me. It's with me, it's in the saddle bag or the handlebar bag all the time, even around town. I chain my bike up with that. Again, locks and chains are only for honest people. Secondly, well, you're mad even if you ride around town without these guys, and they are the Tyre Lever. These have done some miles. These are Bontrager Tyre Levers, which are only cheap, but they're tough as old boots, and they've lasted me a while, and they did very well at getting 23mm and 25mm tyres off my road bike. And usually I find with the Kona I don't even need to use tyre levers, the tyre just falls straight off. But gotta have them. What else have we got? And there's the old trusty Park Tool multi Allen key set, which needs a little bit of WD-40 in it, what the feels of it. And so that's got all the Allen keys I need for my bike, and I don't need to take a kit with me. Loose Allen key kits are alright for your toolbox, but when it comes to travelling, you really need these things. A cheap mini Leatherman knockoff. Now that's just a multi-tool. It has all your knife blade, the nail file. I've got a manicure myself when I travel along the road. It's got like a little screwdriver and so forth like that. But I like to take that with me as well. It's just handy for pulling if you've got to replace a cable, which I forgot is always something else I take with me. I always take a length of cable just in case I do a brake cable or gear cable. So anyway, that comes in handy. That reminded me. So always take something like that with me. I love my little screwdriver. I don't even know where I picked it up. I think I picked this up at Super Cheap or something like that for 50 cents. It's just a little screwdriver, and you can pull it out, swap it in. You've got a blade one end and a Phillips head the other. It's light, compact, small, and it's great for like if you've got to adjust a lockout or derailleur or something on your bike when you're travelling. What else have we got? Always take a chain breaker. These come in handy because even when you find that you break a chain and you've got the missing link, never breaks where the missing link can just slot in. You've always got to take at least one link out. So even when I go mountain bike riding, that sits in the saddlebag all the time now. Another little tool I like to take with me is just my nifty little cheap K&C chain checker. It's nothing brilliant, small, compact, but it's always good to keep an eye on your chain when you're travelling. Have a little 5 Newton meter torque wrench here. I'll take that with me just in case my head stem or something might bolt, come loose or something like that. It's always good to have that with me so you don't over tighten your nuts, because no one likes their nuts over tightened. Other things I take are myriad of spanners, not many. I usually take a small shifter, and I take open enders, that way I can get 4 spanners for the price of 2, and they run between a 12mm to a 15mm, and that gives me all I need for cones, pedals, you name it, that, and they're thin enough to be able to get in and do all that adjustment for me. Even when I go away for a weekend, I take them with me. Right, another tool that I mainly only take when I go on a long ride is my, let's say, large Allen key and adapter out of my toolkit, and that is for bottom brackets, it is for removing your cassette, so forth. Like I said, only on a long trip, don't take it on a short trip. It's just that when you go and pay $80, $90 in a bike store for a cassette, it saves you probably an extra $50 to be able to just get the cassette, and be able to just fix it yourself. Sometimes it's just easier to get them to do it, but I have a good friend here who does a very good job at doing servicing and work on my bike, so he doesn't charge an arm and a leg, and no, not mates rates, he just does a good price. So if you're in Bundaberg and you need your bike worked on, call Dr. Bike. No, it's not a paid commercial, but I will work on it. Another thing I like to take when I do a long trip is, of course, if you're going to change a cassette, you need a chain link. So I take that with me as well. So we're getting to the end now, and I'm going to get to the most vital thing that you have to take with you. It doesn't matter where you go, whether you're riding or commuting, what sort of riding you're doing, it doesn't really matter, and that is the pump. You're mad if you go even down to the shops without one of these things, because guys, this is just a little mini pump. It does up to 120 psi. Yes, it does take some work. I will eventually upgrade to a long gauge frame pump, but that's down the track. So anyhow guys, that's just some of the stuff I take with me. Of course, everybody's kit is different, and like I said, it varies from trip to trip and depending on the length of the trip. So that's it from me for this video, and as I always like to tell you, ride safe out there, eh?